Jagex made imbued hearts so much easier to obtain with the newest update, which is just one of the many changes that made Wilderness Slayer the best training method in the game, not only for Iron Man, but also for main accounts. So today I want to show you exactly how you can take advantage of this update, get yourself more than 100,000 Slayer experience per hour without any effort, and gain upwards of 5 million GP an hour while also training your combat levels up. This is one of those things you don't want to miss out on, and it's the best way to get 99 Slayer on any account. Let's start the video. The first thing I want to mention is the imbued heart. You see, for most players, they get 1 in 200 spawn rate for superior creatures. But if you have elite combat achievements completed and you do Wilderness Slayer, that number goes from 1 in 200 to 1 in 135, making it the best way to get imbued hearts and eternal gems on Iron Man and main accounts. You are pretty much guaranteed to get superiors every single Slayer task. And there were scenarios where I oftentimes got 3 or 4 superiors per task, which is only one of the many benefits Wilderness Slayer has to offer. And before I get into the rest of the cool stuff you can do with this update, a quick word from our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to learn the ideas behind making your own RuneLite plugins, but you didn't know where to start? Well, I got the right answer for you. Boot.DEV is the most fun way to learn backend coding, and their service fixes one problem many people have with developing code. It's boring. So what Boot.DEV has done is gamify your coding experience. You can earn levels, you can earn rewards, you can progress your account just like you do in RuneScape, while also learning a valuable skill in life. Boot.DEV uses Python and Go programming language, which can be most commonly used to make your own web pages, processing data, automating your tasks, and the goal will always be the same: make you learn a completely new language while having fun. It doesn't matter how much experience you have beforehand, whether you're a complete noob or you already understand the basics. Boot.DEV has something for everyone, and if you get stuck, there is even an AI assistant who will guide you to the right answers, so you don't have to worry about not being able to progress your account. It's an absolutely amazing tool when you want to get into coding but you don't know where to start. And Boot even guarantees you 30-day no questions asked refunds if you don't feel like this is something for you. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and use my code KriibusFC to get 25% off your first payment, and that is 25% on your first month or your first year. If you ever wanted to learn coding, this is the perfect opportunity to start. Thank you so much to Boot.DEV for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's talk about Wilderness Slayer. Firstly, it doesn't require any combat levels to begin with, which means technically you can start your grind at level 3. However, I would recommend you start around level 70 and earn your first Slayer points at other masters. You want to make sure you have at least minimum of 3 things unlocked, and that is superiors, bosses, and revenants extended. Now, you can start at level 3 like I said. It is an option, and it's not the worst option in the world, because honestly, any starting account is gonna get so much money from doing Wilderness Slayer, and since you also get most Slayer points out of any Slayer master, it's pretty decent on early level accounts. It is actually the only way to make Slayer profitable at early levels, because if you do it the normal way, you're not gonna see much money until you get at least 80 Slayer minimum. But with Wilderness Slayer, you can start earning millions of GP at level 1. For example, let's say your combat level is 85. For completing every 10 tasks with Neve, you are rewarded 60 points. But for Wilderness Slayer, it's 125 points. So basically, it's double what you would normally get. The tasks are also much easier to complete in general, as you have a lot of options available. Like, you never have to worry about tasks like Iron Dragons or Steel Dragons. You can also prioritize if you want to focus on experience and getting more than 100,000 Slayer experience per hour on tasks like Dark Warriors, or you want to focus more on money like Zombie Pirates, which by the way count as 2 tasks from Krystelia. One is Zombie task and the other is Pirates. It gives you great options to juggle between making bank and making experience, and you never have to worry about annoying tasks like chromatic dragons, elves, trolls, wyverns, and few others that just give bad experience or bad loot. Overall, Krystelia doesn't have that many bad tasks. I actually made a tier list for myself to see what tasks I like the most and what I absolutely don't enjoy doing. Like for example, magic axes are immediate skip for me. If possible, I would just block them entirely, and then you have tasks like mammoths, lava dragons, earth warriors, which are okay, but if I'm not feeling leveling it, I just skip them as well. My block list goes as follows: spiritual creatures, aviances, ice warriors, blood welds, fire giants, and magic axes. I found that none of these tasks are good experience or good loot, but I also have all 6 blocks available. If you start from lower levels, obviously you have to pick and choose which ones fit you the best. And the rest of the 20 plus tasks are all pretty good. The reason it makes it so good is that all of them are in multi, which allows you to use cannon or ice spells, and the other reason is that monsters that usually don't drop anything now have a very juicy drop table. And this drop table can easily get you like 1 million extra GP per task, even from monsters like hellhounds, which normally only drop glue scrolls, but now you have this entire other drop table attached to it. The reason the experience suddenly did get so good is because Jagex changed the spawn rate for many of the monsters in the wilderness from 30 seconds to 9 seconds, which absolutely speeds up the tasks, and you don't have to worry about waiting time. There's always something to do. And not only once again that means more Slayer points because the tasks are shorter and faster, but also means if you get a bad task, you can just quickly finish it up and go get another one. When I started training Slayer on my account, I absolutely despised doing tasks like 195 black demons, which on a bad day could take you up to 2 hours to complete if you're a casual player. That's never gonna be the case with Wilderness Slayer. Now, how can you set everything up so you can quickly jump from one task to another without any downtime? Firstly, let me show you how to set up your bank and what you need. I'm not gonna go over every single item in this tab, most are self-explanatory, but I wanna highlight few of the things I found more usable. Firstly, I swapped out Black D'hide for Mixed Hide as it straight up gives better stats in almost every combat style, and the armor itself is still extremely cheap, like 10k per piece. Now, since I'm a main account, I can just buy all the 3 wilderness weapons, which absolutely slap by the way. For example, you can hit 60s with Ice Barrage, with the Accursed Scepter and Slayer Helmet. It's disgustingly powerful, and the same goes for other 2 weapons as well. Like I hit 70s with the Ursine Chain Mace on a Slayer task, and it's a 4 tick weapon. But if you don't have the money or you're an Iron Man, don't worry about it, because firstly, you're gonna obtain a lot of Revenant tasks, and the wilderness weapons are 5 times more likely to drop during a Revenant Slayer task, so on average you probably should see 1 weapon per 4 to 5 tasks. That's why I mentioned before how important it is to immediately unlock the Revenant extension for Wildy Slayer, as it allows you to obtain all the weapons much faster. And the same goes for the attachments to weapons as well. All the 3 wilderness bosses are extremely common tasks, and we come back to the same thing I mentioned. Do you want money or do you want experience? You can choose. And also, if you want to access more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel to not miss out on my next video, as I found out over 88% of my viewers are simply not subscribed. So consider that if you want to get notified on the next video. Thank you very much. The other thing to focus on is teleports. I highly recommend things like Glory Amulets. If you have leftover Slayer points, I would also consider unlocking Slayer Rings, and the best amulet for Wilderness Slayer is the Burning Amulet, as it opens up so many options to get your tasks the fastest. Okay, when you have everything set up in your bank tab, your task picked and ready to gain experience, the first thing you should keep in mind at any task is that most monsters in the Wilderness Slayer dungeon are unaggressive, which means that PKers can ward hop under you and immediately attack you. So unfortunately, this isn't AFK at all, and since most of the monsters are unaggressive, that also means it's highly recommended to bring cannon with you, as it lures the monsters in and it allows you to aggro. If you do have a cannon and you plan to use it at every task, make sure to place it as deep inside the room as possible. This is just to stay out of vision. You see, peekers usually hop around areas where they can see cannons shooting out, which usually indicates someone is in the room. The deeper inside the room you place your cannon, the harder it'll make for the peekers to notice you. Always prioritize mage defense above everything else. That's why I highly recommend the Mixed Hide armor, as it has good magic defense while also being fairly cheap. If you don't want to risk anything at all, this is my absolute budget setup, which is Slayer Helmet, a Vernic, and my Chain Mace as the 3 items I'm always gonna protect. Then I have Monk Robes or Proselyte, whichever one you choose, and Glory Amulet, Rune Gloves, Arty Cape, and Climbing Boots. In total, I risk less than 100k in this setup, and it's really easy to get all of these items again, even if you die during your tasks. You can, however, approach Wilderness Slayer in a different way, which is anti-PKing. I don't recommend doing this, as you're mostly there to gain insane experience, but But if you wanna get your heart rate up, you can challenge the beakers with some nice Void Waker surprises. Firstly, keep in mind to turn your skull protection on, which means you will never lose your most valuable items. Whenever I had a burstable task like Dust Devils, I usually just focus on the task itself to get the fastest experience, but certain tasks just bring in more beakers than others, and for those, I'm going full anti-beaking. It's one of those things that makes training a skill for me much more fun, but I completely understand if the average player doesn't care about this. If you are just looking to escape beakers, always remember things like using Player Indicator plugin, which detects beakers on your minimap and allows you for the quick one-click teleport before they jump on you. The other two plugins I highly recommend is firstly the cannon plugin, which highlights the spots you should place your cannon during your tasks, and the second plugin I recommend using is the Wilderness Lines, which shows multi-lines, level 30 lines, and it alarms you when another player is nearby by giving you a notification. But if anti-beaking isn't your thing, that's absolutely fine. Just try to focus on getting the best possible tasks you can, and don't be afraid to use those Slayer points to skip the bad tasks, as you're gonna have so many points soon enough that you don't even know what to do with them. When I'm doing burstable tasks, I can easily get over 100,000 Slayer experience per hour, and with tasks like Necreos and Abyssal Demons, I can reach even up to 120,000. It's also incredibly profitable. At the top you have things like Revenants, Wilderness Bosses, Zombie Pirates and Scorpia. Below that we have all the good burstable tasks like Necreos, Abyssal Demons, Cheerless, Dust Devils, which take advantage of the Wilderness Slayer drop table. And then we have the rest of the list. I particularly like doing Green Dragons and Lava Dragons, as I have the Wilderness Elite Diary completed, which allows me to gather Noted Bones, and I can easily get up to 1 million GP for a 15-minute task. All of that with the added benefit of getting Lawrence keys almost every single task, which is also gonna add up extra 500k GP every single time. Whenever I have Chaos Druid task, I always bring my cannon with me, since the zombie pirates are right next to it, which allows me to farm both of them. So the Chaos Druids give me experience and the other one gives me loot. One task that really surprised me was Mammoths, because they actually do give extremely good experience, and it's one of the safer tasks in the wilderness. I didn't see a single other player here because it's simply not a hotspot for PKers. And then you have the rest of the tasks like Magic Access, Ice Warriors, Rogues, all the Giant Moss, Fire, Hill, and so on, which I just run through with Expeditious Bracelet or just block them, and if I have points over, I just skip them immediately. I would highly recommend you take advantage of the Slaughter and Expeditious Bracelets, as they cost almost nothing, and in a long run they can save you up to like million Slayer experience. Because every time you don't want to do a task, the Expeditious Bracelet makes your task 25% faster, and the opposite is with Slaughter Bracelet that makes your task 25% longer. So you can always squeeze more out of the good tasks and make the awful Slayer tasks faster. Added with the fact that you constantly get blighted food and super restores, which allows you to continue doing tasks without spending your own supplies. And with the looting bag, it ensures that you never have to bank during the task. Another item I would recommend buying is the Teleport Anchoring Scroll, or if you're patient enough, you will get that yourself during your zombie pirate tasks. It makes Abyssal Demons incredibly fast, and it turns them into one of the best tasks on the entire list. Overall, I feel like if you're comfortable dying in the wilderness and you don't mind the small setback it causes, there is nothing better than training Slayer in the wilderness. It offers you so much variety in loot, experience, supplies, the fact that every task allows you to use cannon, the amount of points you can earn, which allows you to basically always choose your own task, and the fact that it's the best way to get imbued heart on your account. I say give it a try, see if you like it, and then continue the grind if you do. But that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another one. Bye!